Hey everyone, it's Ryan here from Bailey Nurseries, and I am super excited to talk about shrub roses and roses that are really easy care for Minnesota. Now, there's sometimes a little bit of a hesitation with roses because they have this perception of being hard to take care of, but the roses that you've got here at Gertens are really easy, and the selection that you have are all plants that are bred for easy, successful care in the landscape. So we've got some here to start off that are all rugosa roses, and this is something that you'll see a lot in like commercial landscapes or along freeways, and that's because they're just really easy. And so you can see they've got this really beautiful thick leaf. They're really easy to maintain. They don't get a lot of disease. Really beautiful flower. You can see that they're sort of a little bit in between right now, but a quick little deadhead, you can even just peel them off with your finger, will help with producing some new flowers. But this rugosa, again, you can see it's a little more textured, a little more natural looking. Then you move down to some of the other shrub roses. There's some easy elegance roses here and some first editions. Again, you've got them all marked, so if you've got someone that's coming in and looking for something really specific, you can see the shrub roses, the Minnesota hardy roses. Then you've also got some climbing roses as well. Now the great thing about all of these in these collections is that they were bred to not just survive Minnesota, but thrive. All of the easy elegance were actually bred at Bailey, right down the road, to be successful here in Minnesota. They're all shrubs, so they are not grafted. So even if we have a weird year and they die back to the ground, they're not going to come back a different rose like some of the older varieties that are grafted might. So if they buy Superhero and they see this beautiful red flower, no matter what happens this winter, when it comes back next year, they're going to have that beautiful flower. So you can see we're almost a little bit in between flowers on this as well. So again, you can give it a little bit of a deadhead. And these are all continuous blooming roses, meaning that once you get these off, it's going to keep throwing out flowers throughout the season. You might have a little bit of in-between time, but give it a few weeks and they will start producing some new flowers. Now, as you get later in the season, you want to stop applying fertilizer in the landscape as you get further into August. You don't want to promote that new growth as we go into the cold season because that's where it can get really zapped. But again, since these are all blooming and reblooming on the current season growth, not as important, but again, you want to set it up for success. These are also really great have great disease resistance. Again, one of the things that they were bred for, so you shouldn't see black spot, powdery mildew, or any of those issues. But if you do, you've got some great products here that you can help suggest to your customers. Some really easy foliar applicants that will help maintain that really beautiful leaf. But again, they're all bred so that they can maintain that all the way throughout the season. So you've got the great rugosa roses, you've got great shrub roses. Again, both of these, but especially the rugosa, are really great, have great salt tolerance. So if you're planting it along a driveway or something like that, really great. You also have beautiful climbing roses. This is one of my favorites, Above and Beyond. This was actually bred by Dr. David Zlezak at the University of Wisconsin River Falls. So again, a great local rose. It is called a climber, so you can put it on a trellis, but we also just plant it next to like a fence where it can be this big shrub. Beautiful set of flowers early in the season, and then we'll continue to rebloom throughout the year. So you've got all of these great roses. You've got some great ones from Knockout and Drift and Proven Winners and Monrovia. Again, all shrub roses. So when you're talking to your customers, you can help give them that confidence that they are intended to thrive here in Minnesota, and you're not going to have to stress as much in that winter care with all the tipping that you maybe would with some hybrid tea. So as you go into winter, make sure that first season especially, you give it a nice layer of mulch or leaves, help protect it, especially as it's starting to establish itself. But again, the rest of these, as they get established over the years, you're not really going to need to do much, which makes it that much easier for your home gardeners.
One little question for you, Ryan. As we deadhead, do we have to go down a certain amount of leaves, or should we just be plucking it off like you were kind of demonstrating?
That's a great question. So deadheading with like hydrangeas, you go down to that next set of alternating large leaves. Here, it sort of depends a little bit on how the flowers cluster on there. So this one, you know, I would just pull this off, right, just that one, because you can see that it's starting to develop some others here. So just pick this one off and you're good to go. If you've got like a big cluster of them like this, I would go back. You see where that next branch of leaves was coming off, I would just prune it there. And then you take all of that. And the reason that you do that is because it's still sending energy up to that flower even though it's spent. So if you get that off of there, it can use that energy to produce some new flower buds.
And do you have your favorite kind of fertilizer that you like to use?
Yeah, you've got some great fertilizers. Both I mean, I always love Espoma. I love that they're organic, they're easy to apply, they've got great instructions on there, but even just the rose food here that you've got are really, really great. You don't want to over-fertilize. Again, that can help, or that can cause some root burn on them. Just follow the package instructions, which again makes it really easy when you're talking to your customers of how to maintain it at home. You've got great product, and just follow that instruction.